Greetings, greetings. Hope all is well with you today. Well, listen, Tuesdays is normally a day that I speak to my staff in general here at my place of work. You'll probably see it in a very short bit. But I normally speak to them on Tuesdays. Well, part of it is we talk, to help with development, going through different issues that they may be going through to help them out. And they're mostly young men between the ages of 18 to 50. I've also have a few ladies there within the same age range. But nevertheless, and today we talked about more with dealing with, it's okay to not be okay. But understanding different processes or ways that we can now, deal with these things, deal with these situations and emotions. But most importantly, understanding to tap into the resources that you have. So I'll play a short little snippet from here. I'll put the video on my YouTube page, but I'll put a short little snippet just so you could be a part of it. Something that I've not done before, so my apologies if you feel uncomfortable, but such is life. So one thing that I want you to understand is that regardless of who you see around you, who you see next to you, we all go through certain times in our life. But one thing I want to really push is that time when you have to understand that it's okay to not be okay. All right? And you probably heard that in so many different forms and in so many different ways. But we have to be able to appreciate that. So yesterday, why it became so prominent in my mind is because for the last couple of weeks, only for me personally, I've been battling. And I've been battling with emotional, physical. Well, emotional showed up in the physical, but also it impacted my mental. And I'll tell you that a lot of the feelings that you feel, like persons will think like, okay, well, we have supervisors that sitting here, we have managers that sitting here, and guess what? They don't feel what we feel. They don't go through what we go through. But I can tell you this, that right there is false. We go through the same situations, we go through the same fights, the same mental anguish, emotional anguish that you go through. So for example, when it comes to job security, all right, there might be a time where you did something, it was wrong, you would have been reprimanded for it, and then what happened is, it's like that wrong, and then something else went wrong, and then something else went wrong, and you'd be like, you know what? Now you start to wonder, where do I fit in this whole, in this family, or where do I fit in this operation? I go through the same thing. I actually brought it out to you. Because there's a difference when you're seeing your leadership team tell you certain things, so you start now to formulate certain ideas in your mind. One thing that even when I went through that, and I'm going to be transparent with you, when I went through that, yes, it created a high level of self-doubt, where you believe that maybe I don't belong here. Maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was, or I am. And then what happens when you start to think these ways? Your actions start to show different. You wear it on your face, where you have persons come to you and they ask you, Ma, what's going on? How you feeling? Because you're not your regular bubbly self, or your regular, always smiling, always laughing. So now you challenge with this. But better yet, you now start to also make decisions that you wouldn't make. Start looking for other jobs. You start to figure out that, guess what? You really start to put yourself into a point of, maybe I don't even belong here on this earth. And I know that might sound extreme, but I promise you, I don't care what no one tell me, one or two of you thought the same thing at some point in time. Because when you're going through it, when you're in that trench, there's no light. You don't see no light at the end of the tunnel. All you see is just darkness. And now you're trying to battle through your darkness. But I want you to understand that you are not alone on this road. There's no difference. There's no difference. We go through the same thing. In some cases, imagine too, that we don't only go through it for us, but in some cases, we try to help you to get through it also. But what do we do in these times? We panic. We're supposed to pray, but suppose I tell no, but watch this. You say that, right? No, exactly. And I like how the David Saxon words. You can't find yourself to do these things. Like, I'm telling you, like, and I get it, like the things that you think that you should do. So, for example, I could come up here every day and tell you, say your affirmations. I could come up here every day and start to say, listen, battle and push through it. But when you in it, those things don't come to your mind. You aren't interested in no affirmations. You're trying to find ways, and guess what you can do? You're trying to go through it yourself. So now, one, you're already in a panic mode. Your body was not created to always be in a crisis. Panic creates crisis, because that's how we think. Panic creates desperate thoughts. Desperate thoughts are followed by what? Desperate decisions that follow desperate actions. And then we try to figure out now why we are the way we are. But I want to tell you that it don't have to be so. And yes, this could be me coming to you again, telling you how do we now get through it in some cases. First and foremost, yes, you can go through it, but I can tell you the goal is, not that it's easy, because it's easier said than done. The goal is not to dwell in it. That's one of the things. Don't dwell in it. But better yet, boy, one of the greatest, I don't want to say greatest, yeah, some of my principles that have kept me grounded, that's me personally, and what I'll do is I'll encourage you as you go through these things, because I ain't gonna lie to you, it ain't gonna be where, oh well, I only go through this now and I ain't gonna never go through it again. We go through this every single time, because there's so much different aspects in our life. You come to work, the manager or the supervisor and the manager telling you, you ain't giving us enough. You go home, regardless if you live with mommy, regardless if you live with your spouse, your significant other families, they telling you that guess what, you ain't giving enough. You look at society, because you do have your circle, and you're trying to figure out now, why is it that everyone else is there, and I fighting just to come from up here, from bottom here. And then you start to feel within yourself that you are not enough. One of the principles that I have held on to very closely is the answer was always sent before the problem. Your solution was always there before the problem ever existed. I'm sure of many of you, you would have had times where you may have done something, it failed, and through that failure you went through this situation, and then on the outside of it, an opportunity comes up that actually that process that you actually tried and failed in, and that lesson learned now was the answer to be able to let you walk through that door. Or where some of y'all, well, you join the ASU gang, join Nate's people, right? You put in this ASU just because you wanted to save. And for some strange reason, one situation that you never had a clue about show up the week where the ASU draw, right? Because you was trying to figure out now, how will I get this done? Or, for me, where you were placed in a group of certain people that help you to manage and to deal with yourself, or to get to that next level, when you now what? When you go in through the stresses and the strains. The answer was sent before the problem. The only thing is that because we panic, and don't get me wrong, you're not in this by yourself. Because we panic, you come this way, sir. Because we panic, we don't get to see it, because we only allow ourselves to now become desperate. As we state, desperate thoughts bring desperate decisions. Desperate decisions bring desperate actions. But we didn't realize that, guess what? that there was other alternatives, because we don't allow ourselves just to sit there and be. For me, I try to stay busy. At one point, I ain't gonna lie to you, me and Mary had such a good relationship. Telling you, we used to talk at least 3 times a day. But it didn't help to satisfy, or it didn't help to solve that issue. Only thing it did was push the issue back. So what I'll tell you to do is, hey, in those cases, in those times, firstly, sometimes it's time just to sit with yourself. Don't push away that thought. I ain't say dwell in it, but acknowledge it. Because guess what? Only for you, the only way you could really truly address it is if you acknowledge it. What triggers you? I can tell you what triggers me. Rejection triggers me. And when I feel that I am a disappointment, that triggers me. Those 2 things, I still battling. So the minute I feel like I've failed one of y'all, the minute I feel that I've failed those who sit above me, sit below me, then I go into a state of anxiety, where now I question every single thing that I do, and in making those and questioning myself, I make some very desperate actions. The only difference though sometimes is that I've learned to, even though I've made those desperate decisions, not to act so quickly, but to allow for myself to come back to who I naturally am, and then think about it again. And if that action makes sense to me, or if that decision makes sense to me in my desperation crisis mode, and it also makes sense to me once I've already allowed myself now to come at peace and at ease, then I go with it. But if that doesn't happen, then that means I need to just relax myself. So that is one. And the second one, to me, is the most important one. And this is the one that I speak to you so much about. And that is your circle. Everyone in your circle has a particular role. Everybody. I am blessed right now that the circle that I've created within this warehouse itself, and those persons know who they are. That circle that I've created in here has done more for me than they will ever understand. Because when there's time of self-doubt, not that they come to me and say, oh no man, geez, man, you good. No. They ask me certain questions. Or when it's like, hey, I heard you speak, I think this is how you could get to them better. Or this is how you could create a better impact. Or you have times where, hey, listen, one of them, they just can make sure you stay hydrated. You ain't got to worry about nothing. And that taught me that while we in the grind, while we in the trench, we take for granted a lot of the small basic things, like eating properly. Firstly, eating on time and eating properly. Hydration, how exercise, like these things are quite important. So I'm sure if you come in the corner enough, you'll hear, but I ain't good for your diet. Because guess what? They all have accepted that we understand this what your goal is, and we can do our part. And each one of them serve differently. One of them, they just test me. Oh, they test me. And I ain't talking about in the sense where they ask me questions. They just test my patience. They test my level of understanding. Because I understand too that once I could not bypass, but once we could deal with that, or whatever the situation may be, that there's a lesson that comes out on the end of it. And imagine that all of them come together to help create what it is I need. So my question to you is, how is your circle set up? Because when you're going through it, why do you have to feel like you're walking this road alone? All of us probably in here could say, oh man, I got this friend, I got that friend, I got that brother, that's my brethren. Because we like to use that brethren. But when you're going through it, he might not have the funds to say, okay, I give you $1,000. I mean, the good thing is everyone in that same circle right here, they can give me that $1,000 if I need it. Right out? Off the top? Just transfer that in. right? But you understand what I said. He might not have the $1,000, but guess what? He might say, hey, but I have an idea in which we could go make that money. Or let's sit down and let's talk it out, because guess what? I prefer for you to talk to me than for you to conduct an act that might cause you to be suicidal. Don't lie. Huh? Say what? Say what? No, I just saying, no. And the target is just saying that, guess what? Hey? No, but I really trying to get to a point. Because see, I don't hide who they are, you know. Because I'm so appreciative of them. Because when I'm in it, I know that I'm not alone. But how much you could say that you all have these people you all call friends and brethren and what's not, but when you go into it, they don't even speak no life in you. You can't even talk to them. Huh? Well, everyone know the circle. Trust me, all of them. They ain't broke. I ain't gonna lie. I don't care what he tries to say. Or what they say. They. Right? Because it's them who encourage me and inspire me. And that's why I want to put that to y'all. Be very careful of your circle. Be very mindful. You understand? Be very mindful. Because they might not all have money, you know. They might not all have all that, even that knowledge, but they have that network. They might have that connection. They might have that connection to some or someone that you needed to connect to. Because we all go through it every day. Every day, even in our subconscious, there's a battle. Every day. But who do you have? I want you to really think about that. Who do you really have? I know I have. They're better than the Avengers. But I want you to take the time to really deal and to handle these things. Because we realize that a lot of you, you go through it on a regular basis, but you think that you walk this road alone. But the one final point is the difference between me and you. Initially, there's no difference. We all born, we all came from a mother. She had to been implanted. Now, if any, when my fine jar, I need to start a fine jar. But anyway, all of that, just back to seriousness. We all came from a mother. When we were born, believe it or not, when we were born, we didn't know anything. We had to learn these things. So there's no difference between you and me, except this one thing. That when I need help, I'm not scared to say it. Many of you weren't but that next man on the side of you. You weren't but that lady on the side of you. You weren't but how this one thinks. But this is the thing about it. When you're going through it, you're trying to get out of it. Don't allow yourself to hold yourself and box yourself. When you need that right person to talk to, you speak with them. I got Nate. You speak with them. When you need that time for someone and you just need to travel and just have that time, like they expose you to some things you ain't supposed to be seeing, go tell me. Trust me. We can show you some things, right? But just to try and let you know that that's the difference though, but you gotta be able to say, when I need the help. Had a conversation, we're advocating for something right now that has never been done for this company. And the thing is the fear is that some of you will not even take advantage of it, but I don't care because I will. Where we would be able to now have the opportunity to sit down, to express these things. Because guess what, communication is how you get through it, you know. You already see that you're trying it on your own, ain't help. Then try a different way. But that's it there, be able to say that. And I want you to know that the resources that exist, you can imagine the people inside of you. I come to find out we got fishermen in here. Right? Like we got commercial style fishermen in here. We have mechanics, we have DJs, we got persons who rent tables and chairs. Yes, they scared to talk about their craft. But I say this to them too. How could you sell yourself if you can't even speak to us? How do you do that? How do you pray for expansion if you can't even talk to us about something that you are passionate about? So that should tell you, that's why I know that many of you wouldn't even say when you need the help. You rather report sick, right? You rather come to work and be non-existent. You want to come here and show attitude. You want to come here and now we have to now bear the brunt of what you're going through, but you don't even want to say I need the help. Ladies and gentlemen, let that stop now. Let that stop right here. We have supervisors, even if they're not the ones to say, hey, I'm gonna fully listen, because not everyone is the same. They will surely direct you to the person who can or who will. Ain't no one talking your business. Don't be afraid of that, because at the end of the day, when you start to stay in panic mode and you now dug into that crisis and you start to make desperate thoughts that come with desperate decisions and desperate actions, I just want you to know they come with desperate consequences from a negative standpoint. Even from your health point of it, persons are dying every day from situations just because they don't want to say something. And you have people out here who begging to help you, not to talk your business, but they understand because they went through it. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want y'all to really take those things and take it serious. That it's okay to not be okay. But please, if you take anything from all of this, at least say something to somebody. Because guess what? I rather talk with you, but I rather even pay for you to see professional help than to have to come to your funeral, come to the hospital, or see that something happened that you did because you were in a desperation mode and thought that you were alone. Ladies and gents, you are awesome. You are courageous. You are bold. You are generational. You are generational habit breakers. You are change makers. You are loved and you are loved. You are blessed and you are blessings. Everything that is needed to become who you are intended to become in this world is already available within you. But more than anything else, more than what you've went through, more than what you're going through, more than what you will go through, you are enough. Thank you very much, ladies and gents. Let's have a great one. I hope that video was a blessing for you, that it touched you, it had some impact, and it added value to your day. So whatever it may be, listen, if you require professional help, it's all about being able to say that you need that help. I will have the video as stated on my YouTube channel so that you could watch in its entirety. But I would, as I stated, I hope that it adds value to your day, and to know that there are people out there that wants to help you, that prefer to help you than to have to come to your funeral or somewhere, you know what I mean? And I don't even want to go to that part of it. But thank you very much. Have a great day.